Ah, welcome, Seeker. You've made it. You stand at the edge of the abyss, probably looking for the sun, for some kind of ascent. But the real path, well, it doesn't go up. It goes down. Join me. This is the lesson you didn't even know you were looking for.
So first things first, forget everything you've been told about climbing ladders and reaching peaks. All those heroes you admire, they're just scrambling toward a false summit, a monument to their own ego. True sight isn't found in that thin, cold air. No, it's found down here, in the dark. It's found by descending through your own failures until every single mask you wear is stripped away.
And look where that idea has brought you. Right here. You're standing at the edge of your very own internal void. I know that feeling. Don't run from it. This is not a catastrophe. Think of it as the beginning of a precise, almost surgical investigation into the self you've been hiding.
Now pay close attention. This is your map. This is our path through the shadows. First, we're going to tear down the pretty lies of the so-called kingdom above. Then we'll ignite a war inside of you, courtesy of, shall we say, a necessary irritant. I'll teach you to use 3 masks as weapons, force you to face yourself in the valley of shadows, and then guide you through 10,000 hells of unspoken truth. Only then can we reach our destination, the uncanny synthesis.
Before we go any further, you need to meet the catalyst for all of this. He's not your friend. He isn't a guide in the way you'd hope. He is the minister of the divided self. You should think of him as the stinging grit inside the oyster. He's your necessary irritant, here to provide the friction needed to melt your vanity.
You have to understand the minister's main goal. He doesn't want your peace. Oh no, he wants a sustained internal war raging inside of you. He wants to create a state where your left hand has no clue what your right hand is signing. And you might ask why? Because that friction, that conflict, is the absolute prerequisite for any real change. It's the only thing that will pull you out of the comfortable mud of stagnation. So, how exactly does he create this war? Well, he's clever. He doesn't just attack from the outside. Instead, he gives you 3 masks, tools to weaponize your own mind against that artificial self you perform every day. Let's take a look at his arsenal.
First, there's the Iron Hound. This is your id. It's that raw pulse in your vein that wants everything, and it wants it right now. It's a bloodhound for the unspoken, sniffing out the red meat of your desires long before your polite little mind can even give them a name. It doesn't create anything new. It just gives you the how for your gut's most primal I want.
Next up, the cold scale. This is your ego, and it shows up looking like a sophisticated courtier. This mask, it's the master of the reasonable compromise. It uses the logic of convenience to make self-destruction feel like a series of very clever, very rational bargains. It'll whisper in your ear that your soul is just a tiny price to pay for a moment of clarity.
And finally, we have the most insidious one of all, the inverted halo. This is your superego, but it's been twisted back on you. It pretends to be your conscience, but really it's become a cruel taskmaster, holding you to impossible standards. It weaponizes your own guilt, driving you deeper and deeper into despair, until the abyss starts to look like a welcome relief.
Now, just look at the minister's strategy, laid out nice and clear. See the precision here? Each mask is designed to target a core part of you. The Iron Hound goes for your id, forcing a kind of primal honesty. The cold scale targets your ego, using twisted logic to lead you astray. And the inverted halo? It takes your superego, your own morality, and turns it into an executioner's axe. And once you've been disarmed by these very tools, we arrive at the central stage of our journey. Welcome to the Valley of Shadows. This is the place where your carefully constructed certainty comes to die.
In the very heart of this valley, there's something waiting for you. The uncanny mirror. Now, this is not a tool for vanity. It won't reflect the world or your face. It reflects something far more unsettling. It reflects the back of your own searching head, forcing you to finally confront the echoes of your own choices, the parts of yourself you've been running from your whole life.
So, I want you to ask yourself, what do you think happens when all those reasonable compromises, all those clever bargains you struck with the cold scale, what happens when they finally lead you right here, to this exact spot? What do you see when you look in that mirror?
I'll tell you what happens. Your performative sanity shatters. The roles you play, the person you pretend to be for everyone else, it all just breaks apart.
And right there in that fracture, the parasite that has been stirring just beneath the surface of your dream is finally revealed.
But listen, this shattering, it's not the end. It is the beginning of the final act, the uncanny synthesis. This is where we learn to reassemble the pieces, not as they were, but into something truly honest. It's about finding a home in what once seemed grotesque.
To get there, though, we first have to walk through the 10,000 hells. But these aren't pits of fire and brimstone. No! These hells are the accumulated, unspoken truths of a world that spends all its time avoiding its own nature. Every single failure to act, every time you chose comfort over that knowing feeling in your chest, that's a hell. And yes, we have to walk through them all.
You see, this is the entire purpose of the pain. The journey has to crack you open. And you have to remember this, a cracked mask is not a tragedy. It is the only opening through which the emerald light of reality can finally shine.
And when you pass through this refining fire, something really profound happens. The need to perform, to pretend, to bargain, it all just dies. And in its place, absolute honesty becomes the only ground, the only foundation upon which you can stand. It's terrifying, and it is completely liberating.
And so we come back to our map. Just look at the path we've walked. We rejected the facade, we embraced the war, we confronted the mirror, we survived the hells, and it all led us right here, to the uncanny synthesis, the final reconciliation.
So the descent is over. That emerald light of reality is now falling on the road ahead of you. The room is no longer dark. So, my dear seeker, my only question for you now is this. What will you do with a lit room?